We're going to be talking about Dan Bilzerian officially files bankruptcy and flees USA. Make sure you stay until the end so you don't miss out on Dan Bilzerian officially filing bankruptcy and fleeing the USA. You'll be absolutely shocked. King of Instagram? At a glance, Dan Bilzerian seems to have it all. His Instagram paints a picture of a lifestyle that would be displayed next to the definition of hedonism in a dictionary. He always has a bevy of bikini-clad beauties on hand, whether he's at the beach, flying in his private jet, or even lying in bed. His wealth seems massive, affording him the luxury of a life of constant jet-setting and pleasure-seeking. The story goes that he made his fortune off playing high-stakes poker, and it's the story he sticks with regardless of who he speaks to regarding the source of his wealth. But this story has fallen under scrutiny lately from actual poker experts who have criticisms ranging from the fact that Bilzerian just isn't that good of a poker player to the fact that there just isn't as much money to be made in poker as he claims to have made. Those who have tried to trace the actual source of his wealth have discovered that Dan's father, Paul Bilzerian, served prison time for crimes associated with his activities as a corporate raider. Though he was ordered to pay a $62 million civil judgment for securities fraud, Paul Bilzerian only paid $3.7 million. As to the whereabouts of the rest of his fortune, that remains a mystery, but it's not a far leap of the imagination to assume that he utilized offshore and domestic trusts to protect any remaining assets from his family. It may be tempting to think that an Instagram celebrity armed with a private jet, a bevy of attractive women at his back, and several armloads of someone else's money has exactly zero problems. That is how our society trains you to think, and envying someone in this situation is even more compelling in the context of months-long coronavirus-induced isolation. But at least in the case of Dan Bilzerian, this thinking is wrong. For the CEO of Ignite, a still nascent and still inchoate cannabis brand, the COVID-19 summer of 2020 has presented challenges aplenty. And if the last month is any indication, the autumn may be worse. 50 million. First came the news in July that Ignite was $15 million in the red, a financial hardship that forced Bilzerian's company to agree to end the lease on his, rented by the company, Los Angeles mansion, even as he was yachting around the Mediterranean. Meanwhile, shares in the company tanked, slipping from $1.44 to about 36 cents as of most recent trading. Bad optics and bad business, but the lesson of the year 2020 is that there's no bottom. And so, late last week, news broke that the Canmart, a distribution company that moves Ignite branded product in Canada, where Bilzerian's firm is publicly traded, was ending its relationship with Ignite. Speculation is rife that the internet celebrity and king of Instagram Dan Bilzerian is a worried man, as his company Ignite continues to wallow in bankruptcy. The poker player turned internet personality could be fleeing the country, as his company stares at a closure in just a few weeks. Dan Bilzerian, infamously known as the king of the Instagram, is an American venture capitalist with 32.5 million followers on the platform. He is also an amateur poker player and has claimed that he got honorably discharged from the US Navy SEALs after completing his training. On Instagram, most of his posts are about his extravagantly rich lifestyle. Company in a worse financial crisis. According to a YouTuber, Tom Nash, who recently analyzed Ignite's financial records for the past 6 months, the company is in a dire financial situation that could see it close shop in just 2 weeks. Recently, Dan Bilzerian, who is Ignite's founder and CEO, has been posting pro-Armenian nationalist tweets that have left everyone wondering what's really going on with Dan and his company. Some months ago, a report by Forbes revealed that the Ignite company lost a staggering $15 million in 2019, which was seen as lavish spending by the CEO. Ignite International brand specializes in several projects, including electronic cigarettes, cannabis, and others. However, Dan Bilzerian has dismissed such rumors, as evidenced by his recent tweets. In one of his tweets, he mentioned Uber as an example to draw a parallel and counter bankruptcy speculation about Ignite. Dan Bilzerian has been criticized by quite a few content creators in the past, and was allegedly called the man-baby of Instagram by YouTuber Bilzerian. His source of funding is the company Ignite International Limited, in which he is the CEO and founder. However, recently it has been claimed that most of his life is based on lies. Dan Bilzerian going bankrupt, facing legal troubles. Back in July, Bloomberg had reported that former Ignite president Curtis Heffernan has filed a suit against the company, claiming that he was fired for refusing to approve Dan Bilzerian's extravagant expandings. The company has not been in the best financial shape and received $1.2 million in Paycheck Protection Program loans from the US government in 2019. Furthermore, Ignite International Ltd. reported a loss of over $50 million last year, which has been widely attributed to the CEO's extravagant spending. The company currently has more liabilities than assets, and Dan Bilzerian has been allegedly funneling investors' money to fuel his expensive habits. In the video that can be seen at the end of this article, YouTuber Jamari talks about all of these issues and also questions Dan Bilzerian's poker skills. The 39-year-old has widely been said to be a below-average poker player and has been criticized for his Casanova-like lifestyle, especially with younger women. Moreover, the company that he founded is basically bankrupt and at the same time owes over $40 million to investors. Presidential changes. Keep in mind that Ignite is a consumer-focused brand that doesn't really seem to sell all that much. The company reported $1.6 million in sales in 2020 in its most recent financial statements, good for only about $600,000 in actual profit. Add that to the news that Ignite shuffled company leadership again last month. John Schoffer, who recently put in time at cannabis unicorn Madman, took over as a president on September 1, Ignite's first president since June, and what you're left with is a picture of a failing business, sinking further into turmoil, or wherever this is. At least with Schoffer, who boasts of stops at grocery chain Wegmans and pharmaceutical giant Bayer's agricultural wing in addition to a year at Madman, itself a bit of an ongoing dumpster fire. There's some continuity. According to his LinkedIn, Schoffer has been with Ignite for more than a year, joining the company as a chief operating officer in August 2019, following his stint with Madman, which he departed before the company imploded. Schoffer took over from Lester Lee, whose term as a president lasted just shy of 3 months. Lee, whose previous ventures include selling something called Energy Gum, remains on the company's board of directors, and Lee was installed as president in early June, when he replaced Curtis Heffernan. Heffernan exited on June 8 to pursue other opportunities, Ignite initially claimed in a press release. That's true in a sense, but Heffernan is currently pursuing a lawsuit against Ignite for, among other things, firing him as retaliation for pushing back against what he characterized as Dan Bilzerian's wanton and wild spending on the company credit card. Heffernan wasn't on the job very long himself. He took over from Gene McCormick in November 2019, but he has the distinction of being Ignite's second longest tenured president. Phew, 4 presidents in less than a year. What's next for Ignite, other than searching for the next future ex-president? That's an excellent question. End of the road for Ignite? Ignite failed to file its Q2 financials on time, releasing it in 2.5 months after the deadline, but this still raises a lot of questions. However, they finally released it so nobody could find them. It's not on their website, which is horrendous. What kind of public company doesn't put its own financials on its own website? That is unheard of. So they throw it on some website, which is really hard to get to. The Ignite company started the year with $15.1 million and ended the second quarter with $5.8 million. This implies it burned more than $9 million in just 6 months, translating into $1.5 million every month. Essentially, Dan Bilzerian is a trustafarian, but given the outcome of his own business ventures, he's not a very smart one. In addition to his trust fund, Bilzerian has been using his company Ignite International Brands Ltd. as something of a personal treasure trove. There seem to be a lot of online personalities gleefully covering Bilzerian's deception. Perhaps it's because they can't stand him as a person, perhaps it's to throw it in his followers' faces. The source of his money doesn't matter as much as the illusion that he sold. The truth doesn't matter as long as this illusion is still standing strong. And if Dan is a master at anything, it's at building this illusion for men and women. Outro. While you are here, go ahead and click on one of these videos on your screen. See you there.